What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $1,400 third stimulus check update, fourth stimulus check update, and related news. We got a lot of good news actually today. We're going to jump right in. First, we're going to cover fourth stimulus, the upcoming next round of stimulus, which President Biden has already started with $1 billion of student loan forgiveness to defrauded borrowers and borrowers that are student loans, students with student loans or previous student loans from colleges that have closed. He's already forgave $1 billion of student loan forgiveness. We're expecting more, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about fourth stimulus checks and the fourth stimulus package. Then we'll talk about third stimulus if you haven't got your $1,400 yet. All right, I'm excited about this one. Let's jump right in. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates, and hit the like button for us down below. This is one of those videos you want to watch all the way to the end to get all the details. You know I don't say that all the time, but this video has the details that you're going to want to know, so make sure to watch this video all the way to the end. Okay, first up, we're going to get a little technical here about the fourth stimulus check package, and really the fifth stimulus package, okay? Because we're going to talk about how the Democrats can pass multiple packages here in the future with the reconciliation process. You know, this handy dandy little card that the Democrats passed the last stimulus package bill without any Republican votes. The key there is without any Republican votes because, well, simply we're not expecting Republicans to vote on anything if it has to deal with the Democrats wanting to pass a bill. Possibly in the future, but right now the Republicans are basically at a standoff and don't want to pass or vote for any bills. Remember, the Republicans, there was not a single Republican who voted yes on the third stimulus check package from the House or the Senate. Not one. All right, that leads us to this. First, let me set the stage here with an article that you may have seen on this channel. I've referenced it a few times. Bernie Sanders signals he expects to use the reconciliation process for the infrastructure package, which is the next stimulus package. We're expecting multiple rounds or multiple provisions of stimulus in there. And surprisingly, the White House has announced that they will be introducing the stimulus package, the next infrastructure package, in two different parts. The first part is likely going to come on Wednesday, which we're getting pretty close to, and the next one's going to come a week or two after. They're probably going to focus on physical infrastructure on the first package on Wednesday, and we'll have to see if stimulus is in there. We're also hearing about free community college going to be in this next package, free preschool for 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds like my son Julian. But so yeah, there's multiple different things. There's so many things in there. We're not going to get into that right now. Right now, we're going to get into, can they get another stimulus package and can they pass it? Here's where the new information that is very interesting comes in. Okay, first, we have this new article from Politico that says Chuck Schumer's 51 vote gambit. And here's where we're going to get into some interesting details. As you can see here, Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader for the Democrats, prepares for Reconciliations Part 2 and 3. If you know one thing about the arcane subject of budget reconciliation, which you probably never knew anything about budget reconciliation before watching this channel, let me know if that's true. I learned a lot about it too, and in fact, I see a lot of varying information all the time. I've been seeing a new comment recently over the last several days that says that the Democrats can't pass another stimulus package again this year until September or October. And I'm going to show you why that is wrong. Okay, so let's go. So again, if you know anything about budget reconciliation, it's that it can be used to pass legislation through the Senate with just 51 votes, rather than the normal 60 votes it takes to pass a bill in the Senate to overcome the filibuster. Never mind that the Democrats want to get rid of the filibuster and is a possibility in the future, but is probably not going to be happening here within the next few weeks. But that's because they're probably going to pass these next couple bills with reconciliation. But that is something that could likely happen in the near future. If you know two things, it's that the simple majority rule and that the reconciliation can be used only once every fiscal year. Now, real quick, let me address. So, one, we just read here that reconciliation can only be passed one time per year. But note here, there's a big asterisk. This is just something for later use here. Congress can use three reconciliations per year, with each bill addressing the major topics of reconciliation. So that's where we get into one time per year per topic. Okay. Number one is revenue. Number two is spending. And number three is the federal debt, which, in my opinion, are all very similar topics. And, when you're talking about a stimulus package or stimulus check, you could think that that could go under revenue, it could go under spending, or it could go under the federal debt limit. So, with that asterisk being said, that they can use it three times per year, let's just push that aside for a little bit and we'll worry about that at a later date. So when we come back here, it says the simple majority rule in a reconciliation, and the reconciliation can only be used once every fiscal year. Again, per subject, but for right now, we're just going to say, okay, it can only be used once per fiscal year. Got it. And this is where people that aren't really well researched or heard wrong information from somebody else is kind of getting the wrong impression that they can't pass another stimulus package until September or October. Number one, very important here, Congress didn't pass a budget resolution last year. Again, they didn't pass a budget resolution last year, so the Democrats used the reconciliation left over from last year, which is passed for this year, fiscal 2021, to pass the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So the way this works is typically the year of, you're doing the budget for the next year. You have to do the budget ahead of time because, well, you can't do it as you're in the year. But that's what they actually did. So they used the budget reconciliation process that wasn't used last year. And they took that and they used it for the third stimulus check package. So what that means is basically took their free pass from last year, because last year there wasn't a split tied Senate, so there was no reconciliation bill used. So they used that one for the third stimulus check package. So that means that they haven't used one for this year. So what does that mean? Well, that instantly means that there's still one reconciliation card or package that they can use for an upcoming stimulus package. So instantly, we have already discussed or already found out that we now can pass one stimulus package or one stimulus bill or one bill with reconciliation, because we used last year's on the third package. So this year's for the third package hasn't been used yet. That means that they still have the fiscal 2022 reconciliation bill that you would use this year in 2021. You would use the 2021 bill to pass the 2022 budget reconciliation. So that means that they still have this year's bill left as a vehicle for portions of Biden's infrastructure, tax, climate, and social welfare agenda, aka the next package, the next stimulus package, that President Biden says he plans to announce portions of starting as early as tomorrow. Okay? Follow me so far? But here's where we get into the next interesting part. But what if, buried in the rules of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974? You've been doing some light reading and you recently read the Congressional Budget Act of 1974, right? There was a magical parliamentary trick that the Democrats could use to unlock a third reconciliation bill this year in that light reading you did in the Congressional Budget Act of 1974. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's been in the Senate for like 36 years, something crazy like that, believes he has found it. It's called Section 304, and you're about to start hearing a lot about it. This section of law that governs the congressional budget process, the reconciliation process, essentially says that Congress may revisit and amend an already passed budget resolution, like the one used to pass the COVID relief package, the third stimulus check package. Or at least that's what Chuck Schumer aides are arguing. So again, This provision says that Congress may revisit and amend an already passed budget resolution like the one used to pass the third stimulus check package. So, number one, we figured out that we have another reconciliation process for this year because they used last year's reconciliation process, the one per year, well, per subject, to pass the third stimulus check package. So they still have this year's. So that leaves one reconciliation card left. So instantly, anybody who told you that they can't pass it until September, October was wrong. Okay. So one, they have one reconciliation card. But two, this new act that Chuck Schumer went digging through the files and the articles of Congress and the Congressional Budget Act of 1974, who even knows what that means, that there's another provision in there that says that you can go back and amend any budget reconciliation process. So in this case, they can go back and amend the third stimulus check package to add more stuff to it, basically creating an additional reconciliation process. So you now have two different reconciliation processes. For example, on this second one, they could go back and say, that $1,400 third stimulus check, we want to add $2,000 to it, like the new bill that was just introduced by two Democratic representatives, Rashida Tlaib and Representative Jayapal, for a $2,000 stimulus check and $1,000 reoccurring monthly stimulus checks. Okay. So this was a bill that was just introduced this week for a $2,000 stimulus check, the fourth stimulus check, and monthly reoccurring payments for up until 1 year after the pandemic. Bill just introduced by the Democrats in the last week. So they could add something like that by going back and amending the third stimulus check package and saying, yeah, that wording in there that said $1,400 third stimulus check, we're going to change that to $3,400. So you would have already got the $1,400. They're now adding $2,000 to it and maybe monthly reoccurring stimulus checks. Worst case scenario, maybe they negotiate down and they have to negotiate with different people to make sure they get all the votes. Joe Manchin. Do you ever get that Joe Manchin cough? I get that Joe Manchin cough. It's one of those, coughs that it doesn't go away. It just kind of bothers your throat. And finally you cough it out and then they go away. Just like they did with the third stimulus check package. They eventually got all the votes that they needed. And that is likely what will happen in the future. In fact, Joe Manchin actually says he's for infrastructure, but he'll probably argue some points in there, if we're being honest here. Okay, but they'll eventually get everybody's votes to pass these packages. Okay, so number one, they actually have two reconciliation processes left for this year, two stimulus packages left for this year. And then when September or October comes around and the start of the next fiscal year for the next year, then they can pass the next one. Make sense? So they have basically two more stimulus packages that they can pass this year until October. And then when October comes, they can get another one. And then realistically, then they can use that provision to go back and amend other bills. Who knows if there's even a limit on that? Can they just go back and keep amending over and over and over if they wanted to? So the reality, the moral of the story is that the Democrats can pass at least two more stimulus packages or packages, infrastructure packages with stimulus provisions in them, anything they want with just the 50 to 51 votes that they have in the Senate before October. So basically, and remember, they don't really need Republicans at all. They can pass anything they want with just their 50 votes and the votes in the House, which is controlled by the Democrats. So basically, they can pass another package with stimulus checks in them, with free college in them, free preschool in them, student loan debt forgiveness, $200 per month Social Security increase, stimulus checks, reoccurring checks, anything they want to put in there. Just like the third stimulus package, they had $1,400 checks. They had $40 billion for mortgage assistance and rental assistance. They had $350 billion for states. Some of those states are going to use that for state stimulus checks. They had the free Cobra healthcare coverage if you lost your job. They had the $300 per week unemployment extension. They had the $10,200 unemployment uh, retroactive tax money that if you made $10,200 of unemployment money for last year, that you don't have to pay tax on it. There's so many things that they can add in these packages, and we know that they can do that because they just did it for the third package. So there really, at this point, should be no question that they can or cannot pass another package, and it can or cannot have stimulus in there because we just found out they have two more reconciliation cards to use this year, and they can put anything they want in there because the third stimulus check package that just passed is our model. And our model shows that they had all sorts of crazy stuff in there, literally dozens and dozens and dozens of things in there. And they have two more times to do it up until October, and then they'll have another one. So, yeah, the future is bright for the fourth stimulus check package. And if you're a fan of stimulus, this is probably the best news of the month that we will have until they pass the next package. Okay. Now, it's weird how I get excited about this stuff, but it's like I get excited about this stuff because it means that they can pass more packages and they can do it without the Republicans. It's not that I don't like the Republicans. I have plenty of friends on the Republican side and the Democratic side, but the reality of it is that I see your guys' cries, I see your comments, I see your tears, I see your emotions every single day with the comments. So I understand your point of view. And that is the point of view of that we need stimulus until the pandemic is over. We need to take care of our citizens now until the pandemic is over. It's a once in a 100-year pandemic, and realistically, we're just giving some money back to the American citizens who've paid into the tax system for years and years and years and years. So 1 year, the government gives back out of 100. It is what it is. So to move on to $1,400 third stimulus check package as well, you could look at this as good news or bad news. The bad news is that the IRS and Social Security really haven't updated us. Okay. The good news is that we know that stimulus checks are coming tomorrow, March 31st, direct deposits. Okay. We know that because we've had hundreds or possibly even thousands of people comment saying that they are pending for March 31st, as well as April 2nd with paper checks and debit cards. Okay. So the other good thing is we had a comment yesterday from Heather that said she's pending for March 31st and she's not even on Social Security. Her and her husband have $1,400 stimulus checks pending for March 31st. They're not even on Social Security. So even if you're not on the Social Security umbrella, SSI, SSDI, railroad benefits, VA, any of those, you could still be getting your $1,400 stimulus check direct deposited tomorrow, March 31st. So really great news. The bad news would be is that the vast majority of people, the IRS Get My Payment tool just says status unavailable. It is what it is. Just honestly, stop checking the IRS Get My Payment tool if it frustrates you and you hate that tool. I get it. I'll bring you guys the latest information, and the latest information is that millions and millions of people are going to get the $1,400 stimulus payments direct deposited tomorrow and or deposited onto Direct Express. Let's hope it's you if you haven't got it yet. Let's hope it covers the vast majority of Americans. I'd be lying to you if I was going to tell you that it's going to cover 100% of people. There's no way that 100% of people are all going to get direct deposits tomorrow. Just is what it is. Let's all pray. Let's all hope that our family, that as many people get it tomorrow as possible. There's also millions of people receiving their paper checks and debit cards in the mail every single day. I see your comments every single day saying, Jimmy, I got it in the mail today. Jimmy, I got it in the mail yesterday. So it really could be in the mail. Even if you're set up for direct deposit, the IRS is sending out a new record amount of paper checks and debit cards in the mail for the third stimulus check. And they likely will probably do this for the fourth stimulus check as well. I don't know why they do it. There's no rhyme or reason why they can't even tell us why some people get a debit card and why some people get a paper check. So it is what it is. But the good news is that they can pass two more stimulus packages this year, or packages with stimulus in them, with free community college in them, with tax credits in them, with rental assistance in them, with unemployment bonuses in them, with anything they want to put in there. Anything they want to put in there because the Democrats are going to pass these on their own. So the good news is there's two more coming this year, and then another one coming after October, and possibly even more because then they can go back and amend them if they want to. And millions of people are going to get their $1,400 stimulus check tomorrow, March 31st. So I'll keep you up to date with everything. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates on the upcoming round of stimulus. After subscribing, click the bell icon to all notifications to get notifications when we go live and get reminders of new videos that come out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern. Share this video with your family and friends. There's a share button down below so they know about the upcoming stimulus packages. Disregard the naysayers. They're always out there. The naysayers said the second stimulus check would never happen. The naysayers said the third stimulus check would never happen. And now you got the naysayers saying the fourth stimulus check would never happen. And when the fourth stimulus check happens and it's passed, there'll be naysayers saying the fifth stimulus check will never happen. Hopefully by then you'll learn to just ignore them, just like I did. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date with the truth, with everything. I show it to you in black and white with my sources so that you know what's going on. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA, where you can sell products on Amazon from home and replace your 9-to-5 income. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.